Hari. Jam Vishnu Pad Paramamsa Parvajikacharya Astu Tarasata Sushimad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jam Vishnu Pad Paramamsa Parvajikacharya Astu Tarasata Sushimad. Sringa Guru Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Premsako Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Navadip Dham Ki Jai. New Dwarka Dham Ki Jai. Their Divine Lordship Shri Shri Rukmini Dwarkadish Ki Jai. Their Divine Lordship Shri Shri Gornitai Ki Jai. Their Divine Lordships Shri Shri Rukmini Dwarkadish Ki Jai. Shri Damodar Ki Jai. Govardhan Hill Ki Jai. The Holy Appearance Day of Govardhan Hill Ki Jai. Jamunamaya Gangamaya Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Jaga Ki Jai. Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Transcendental Prasadam Distribution Ki Jai. Gaur Premananda Hare Bol. All glories to all the summer devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to all the summer devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to all the summer devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today is Govardhana Puja 2024. So hopefully we have some time to we don't have enough time to do everything I prepared, but we'll see how far we get. And then we'll end with a surprise. And also we'll have Govardhana Puja after class. We have a hill there on the altar, and we'll have Govardhana Puja. So a very ecstatic program going on today. So this is a story about how Krishna, let's see if we get this here, messed up here. Let's see if we could get that. Oh, can you turn the volume up? Because we have something here. Let's see if I could get it here. Do you know how to turn the volume up? Okay. So we could hear something in the background. Let's get rid of this. Okay. Let's see if you could hear that. Okay, you should be able to hear something in the background if you turn it up. Make sure this is up here. Okay. There we go. Just to set the mood a little bit of Govardhana. So, as I was mentioning, it's a story about how Krishna protects his devotees and gives continuous joy and pleasure to the Brajavasis. So, there's a lot of references from different books, the Harivamsa, Gopal Champu, the Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is in the holy land of Vrindavan. It's a sacred site. It's dear to Krishna and all his devotees. And there's this gracefully sloping hill. And it's praised in the Vedic scriptures that it's actually the very form of Lord Krishna himself. And its beauty is sublime. It has groves, flowering trees, caves, springs, lakes, cows are grazing, It's very peaceful. And then you could hear the sweet sound of Krishna's flute. It echoes throughout the valleys. And this hill, it provides shelter and nourishment for all the local villagers. And just as Lord Krishna protects his devotees, Krishna has blessed Govardhan Hill, so it brings great fortune for those who respect it. And then when Krishna lived there, he would herd the cows with his friends on the Govardhan's grassy flanks. And he declared his identity with the hill when he miraculously lifted it up with one hand to protect the residents from this fierce storm. So to this day, devotees, they observe Govardhan Puja festival, and they make elaborate offerings to the hill. So they pray for Krishna's mercy and the blessing to be blessed by the Govardhan Hill. So by Lord Krishna's grace, this hill eternally provides for the residents of Vrindavan. So its greatness is proved when proud Indra, he tried to punish the village. But Krishna easily countered it. These heavy torrents of rain, and he lifted this massive hill, and thus it's like the crown jewel of Vrindavan Dham. Here's a couple of quotes I'd like to just read to get us started here. Of all the devotees, this Govardhan Hill is the best. Oh, my friends, this hill supplies Krishna and Balaram, along with their calves, cows, and cowherd friends, with all kinds of necessities: water for drinking, very soft grass, caves, fruits, flowers, and vegetables. In this way, the hill offers respect to the Lord. Being touched by the lotus feet of Krishna and Balaram, Govardhan Hill appears very jubilant. That's from the Krishna book. And we don't have too much time to read anymore, but I'll just read one more from the Brahma Samhita. Just as Lord Sri Krishna never falls under the control of material nature, similarly, this transcendental hill of Govardhan cannot be conquered by the demigods, and it is always absorbed in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's a couple there. So there's a nice verse I put together. We could chant that together in glorification of Giriraj. Namaste Girirajaya, Govardhana Namine, Asesha Klesha Nasaya, Paramananda Daine. So the first line is, I offer my obeisances to the King of Mountains, who is named Govardhan. Aksesha Klesa Nasaya, he destroys unlimited afflictions. And Paramananda Daine bestows the highest bliss. So this is a translation. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the King of Mountains, whose name is Govardhan. He destroys unlimited miseries and bestows the highest bliss. So also yesterday was Diwali, so that's celebrated also, and in our calendar year. So this is Sarabi Kund, where we had a festival a few years ago when we went to Govardhan. And this is how the devotees, they offer candles and lights. So there's different ways of worshiping Govardhan. And we'll see, I'll mention a few of them as we go along. So one way is like this, you create a motto of Govardhan Hill. So this is what we're doing today. Especially for us who live far from Vrindavan, in the Garga Samhita it instructs us that a motto of Govardhan Hill can be made of cow dung, decorated with flowers and grass. This allows devotees to connect with Govardhan and worship him from a distance. So actually on Govardhan Hill, I heard that there's people, they make houses out of the stones on Govardhan. And the reason why they do that is because Govardhan blesses them with a house when they build a house like that. So it depends on how big you build the house. Krishna will reciprocate. Govardhan will reciprocate with you. So here's another manifestation of the hill. This is in Mayapur. So it's actually presented as a deity, and it's worshipable. And it embodies the perfect spirit of loving devotion. So this is the devotees do. They have unwavering faith and simple devotion in Govardhan Hill. And Govardhan gives them bliss and protection. And here we see our Govardhan Puja, celebrated, the huge mountain made of food for Govardhan. So just as Krishna is a person with his transcendental qualities, his associates, his abode, his paraphernalia, in fact, everyone in Vraja, all the paraphernalia, in whatever form they have, a hill, a rock, a kund, they all have personality. And they're never afflicted by the qualities of material nature. That's quite different from we heard in class just the other day. Gaudacandra was saying that they are not, stones usually are not conscious. But when you're talking about transcendental activities and things, they are all conscious. So one time, Maharaj Nanda, he inquired from his brother as to how Govardhan had come to the land of Raja. And so he explained to him that once in Hastinapur, Pandu Maharaj, he inquired the same question from grandfather Bhishma. And Bhishma narrated the following story. So he says, once in Goloka, Lord Krishna requested Srimati Radharani to appear on the earth. Radharani told her beloved Krishna that if Vrajadam is not present along with the Jamuna and Govardhan, she could not be at all happy. When Sri Krishna heard this, he informed her that he had already sent his Vrajadam along with Govardhan and the Jamuna to earth. So this is what happened. So here, this is the birth of Govardhan. This is how he appeared. He birthed by Nanda, which was Dronachal's wife in Samali Dweep. And this hill is revered by the demigods and everything. So Palashta Muni, who happened to come there, he was captivated by the splendor of that hill. And he wanted it to take with him so that he can meditate, because where he lived, there was no hills there. So he wanted to have this beautiful hill. It had caves and streams, very beautiful creepers and flowers, birds. And he wanted to have that for his ashram, to take it with him in Varanasi. That's where he worshipped Lord Shiva, and the Ganges flows there. So he asked the father to do that, and the father was very sad. But Govardhan was concerned that this sage would not curse his father, so he agreed to go. And so he agreed on one condition that, okay, you could carry me, but wherever you put me down, I have to stay there. So then, as they were traveling, Govardhan noticed, oh, we're in Vraja. I want to stay here. So by his mystic potency, he had this Muni, he had to take care of the call of nature. So he put the hill down. And then when he finished, he came back and he couldn't lift it, because he was lifting it with his right hand. And he tried both hands, he couldn't lift it. So then he became angry and he cursed Govardhan that actually you're going to sink one measurement of 1 sesame seed per day. So at that time, when he carried Govardhan, when he put him down, it's described that it was 8 yojanas long. That's 64 miles. And it was 5 yojanas wide, 40 miles wide. And it was 2 yojanas high. That's 16 miles. Can you imagine that? So after 10,000 years of Kali Yuga, Govardhan will disappear. So today it's about, 5 miles long, I think. Takes about 5 hours or so, 6 hours to go around it. So this is there. So there's more to the story, but we don't have time. So we'll just move on. So this is how it begins, the coward village of Vrindavan. Krishna lives there very happily amongst the residents. And Krishna notices that, his father and the elders are preparing an elaborate sacrifice. And he's asking his father, what is this for? Tell me what's happening. Why? So Nanda Maharaj was very busy, and he was like, he didn't want to tell him, but Krishna's very talkative, and he said, we shouldn't keep secrets in the family. Tell me what's going on. So Manara said, okay, every year for generations we perform this Indra Puja. It's our tradition. It should be embraced and continued. So Krishna, he's the supreme personality of Godhead. He's eternal, he's blissful, he's the origin of everything. He's the prime cause of all causes. And they're worshiping Indra. So this is what Krishna wants to do, is set this straight. So anyway, I'm just thinking how much we have here. So we know the story, so we're going to go on. This is just kind of giving you a summary of the story. So anyway, it's described here that if you hear about the glories and opulence of Govardhana Hill, you become the best of persons, and you go to Goloka, the supreme abode, which even the greatest yogis cannot attain. And this is one of the Brajabasis. They had this prayer. My dear Lord, if in my next life I become a human, please bless me to be a cowherd girl in Goloka. So that was nice. So they said, why should you worship Indra? He's bound by karma like everybody else. Indra just delivers the destiny we deserve, nothing else. So Krishna suggested that they worship Govardhana Hill. The cows, the brahmanas who are dear. So Nanda Maharaj said, okay, yeah, sure, we'll do it. Can we just do this today and then we'll do it tomorrow? And Krishna says, no. Time is of the essence. Let's not waste it. Instead, just use all this for the Govardhana Puja. So then they were happy to do that for Krishna. That's all they wanted to do, was please Krishna. So that's what they did. So they did this huge, elaborate sacrifice. So this is another way we worship Govardhana, is by offering things like food and like this. It's a sacrifice. So that's how we worship Krishna. So this is Krishna. They agreed, and Krishna started to tell them more things you should make. Make all this rice, mountains of rice with ghee, chapatis, sabjis, sweet cakes, ladus, halava, all kinds of kheer, sweet rice, condensed milk, nectar drinks, and dress in the best of your clothes. And don't forget to decorate the cows in very aromatic flowers. They had this colorant powder. They would, make designs on their bodies. And they would put gold and jewels on their horns. And they covered their hooves with silver. And then also they had embroidered cloth on their backs. And don't forget, there was 900,000 cows. Can you believe the opulence of Vrindavan at that time? Amazing. So this is how they celebrate it. This is in Vrindavan. When we were there, they take a cow and they perform puja. And they do parikram around the cow, and they offer all these things. They do bhajans and things. So you can see the cow on the bottom right. He's being worshipped. So this is what happened. The Krishna amazed everybody. At the completion of the Govardhana Puja, he told them to make offerings to the cows, Brahma, everybody in Giriraj. And then Krishna, he amazed them. He appeared as this gigantic form, and he declared that I am Govardhana Hill. And he started munching and eating all the prasadam, all the bhoga, and then he was like just eating it more and more and more. But you see, 5,000 years ago, Govardhana was actually touched by it touched the clouds, and Krishna was on top of it. And so he expanded himself in this enormous form, like the mountain. And he said that, this is me. So then Krishna bowed down, acting like he didn't know who that was. Krishna there on the bottom. He said, who is that? And then he made offerings to him. So this is what happened. It's very nice. So here, Giriraj, he extended his hands in 8 directions with thousands of arms. He was putting all the mountains of bhoga into his mouth. It was like an enormous cave, his mouth. And then the moment he ate all the food, which was enough to feed millions of people, there was nothing left. So then he wanted to be more and more and more. So the reason why I put this map here is because it's described. If you look here, this one arrow, this is Govinda Kund. So from Govinda Kund, you see it's underlined there at number 21, all the way to Dana Nivartana Kund. All that area between those two arrows is where all that prasad, all that boga was stacked up and lined up. It's said even in Nandagram and Barshana they were offering boga. So it's all over. So here it's happening all over the world. Everywhere we go, there's this Govardhana Puja all over the world. We're offering these things to them. So, yeah. So this is where it's located. The tip, there's a square in the middle, and it shows you where that's located. So this is Govardhana. So when he said, Anior, Anior, give me more, they didn't know what to do. So then they turned to Balaram, and Balaram said, just give him a tulsi leaf. And then Giriraj proclaimed, now I'm satisfied. So tulsi is really wonderful things about Tulsi Devi. So it's described that Krishna doesn't accept any offerings unless there's a tulsi leaf. So it's very sacred. So that really satisfies Krishna. It makes everything complete. And so that's one of the ways we develop love for Krishna is through Tulsi Devi, worshiping Tulsi. It's a symbol of devotion. And so, of course, if we worship Govardhana, we can get that also. If we worship the Jamuna, we can also get that devotion from Krishna. And yeah, so this is how we describe. There's a wonderful story of Jamuna and Yamaraj. When one time Yamaraj went to visit his twin sister, which is Jamuna, she asked him for a benediction. And she said that whoever brother and sister comes and bathe in the Jamuna, then they will actually get liberation. And then Yamar said, well, what about people that don't have brothers and sisters? And they said they could just grab someone and come together and they could become sisters and brothers. And he said, even if your brother and sister is in hell, you could go in the Jamuna and think of them and it'll help them for their liberation. So this is what happened is Indra was insulted. He was disgraced. It was unbearable for him. So he sent the Samvataka clouds of devastation to actually destroy Govardhana and everything in it. So this is what he did. So there were the cows. Everyone was running around. It said the hail, which was like pillars of ice. And the bulls are angry. They're looking at the sky. There's thousands of rivers pouring down like pillars of water. Winds blew. So just as we mentioned, Krishna never falls under the control of material nature. So similarly, this transcendental hill of Govardhana can't be conquered by the demigods. And it's always absorbed in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is what happened. Krishna came. He lifted Govardhana hill. And he called his parents, come. So Krishna just saying he's offering this like that. He smiled. He said, don't be afraid. Wherever Krishna is, just come. I don't feel the slightest inconvenience. So this is what happened. It's so beautiful. So it's amazing when they built this, how it protected all the devotees under the hill. There's so much to describe about this, but we don't really have time. So I'll just move on. But it's described that under Govardhana Hill, it was like a subterranean heavenly kingdom where everybody experienced bliss and the protection for 7 days. And everyone, it's described that under the hill, there was also another storm going on because Shama's form was like a monsoon cloud. His cloth yellow like lightning. His peacock feather was like a rainbow. And the gaze, a storm inundating the hearts of all the residents. So this is nicely described. So the elderly gopis were in anxiety, so many hours he's holding up the hill. But Madhu Mangala says, "Oh mother, why are you so disturbed? Krishna is simply enjoying there. There's no weight on his hand because I'm chanting mantras to empower Krishna to lift the hill." So she said, "Oh, you're just naughty. Look at Krishna, he got Indra upset, now he's destroyed everything." So it's described there like that. So then we have the Sarabi cow. After the hill subside, he came with Indra. There's so much about the sacred cow we could talk about, but we won't mention that. But also the elephant, Aravata, came, and he got special water from the heavenly worlds. And so Indra was consumed by envy and anger, and so he his pride was destroyed. So this is the Sarabi Kund where it took place in India. It's described there, many pictures. So this is the lesson Indra learned from his envy. And so we have a contemplation. This is another form of worship by meditating on him, talking about Govardhana. This is another form of worship, and this is what the devotees do. And they were describing who is this Krishna they're gathering? We know, how is he able to lift this hill? But not only that, this is not the first time we saw him perform wonderful feats. We saw him kill Sakatasura. We saw him kill Putana. We saw him kill Denakasura, Bakasura, Trinavarta demon, the Agasura demon. And he danced on the hoods of Kaliya. And then he said, Nanda Maharaj revealed to them. He said, Gargamuni came and secretly and performed the name-giving ceremony. And he said that he came in different ages with different colors and forms. In Dwapara Yuga, he was the Sham. In Satya Yuga, he was whitish. In Treta, he was reddish. In Kali, he's yellowish. And he also said that, he always gives protection. He's as good as Narayan. So they said, yeah. They didn't understand what they're saying. They said, oh yeah, he's protected by Narayan. So here we see worship of the Shila is another form of worshiping Krishna. Like that. And we also offer Bhoga everywhere. Feasts for Govardhana, Kirtan, and worshiping Govardhana. Parikram is another form of worshiping Govardhana by going on Parikram, circumambulating the hill. And so the Brajabasis, they play on the hill, everything. It's beautiful. There's so many descriptions of Govardhana. It's described there. And there's sacred caves. They're not ordinary caves. There's actually described that there's luxurious insides. It's adorned with beautiful marble mosaics, intricate paintings, sparkling jewels, jewel lamps illuminate the interiors. It's amazing. There's delicious snacks. There's so many different things. And it also expands. Like if it rains, all those cows can go and take shelter in there, and all the cowherd boys. So this is a festival. There's a nice prayer I would like to repeat. I pray that I may engage in the service of the moving and non-moving residents of Vrindavan. What are Brahma and the other demigods in comparison to them? The residents of Vrindavan are more glorious. They are very dear to Raja King. Their forms are eternal, spiritual, and full of nectar. Their glories are limitless. They are the root that sprouts into the bliss of the Upanishads. So we had some questions and answers for you, but we'll just go on. So here's the surprise. See if we have enough time to do this. It's a few minutes. And it's to summarize this, it's going to be into a podcast, the Govardhana podcast. There's a few words mispronounced, so just excuse those. So here it goes. And these are from different references from Indradumna Swami's lectures he gave from different scriptures.
Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into some really fascinating Krishna lore today. Specifically, the story of Govardhana.
Oh yeah, it's one of those stories that just grabs you. So many layers from that.
Exactly. And, lucky for us, he brought some excerpts from lectures by Indradumna Swami.
He's a great storyteller. Really brings these ancient tales to life.
So, our mission today is to really get to the heart of this Govardhana story. See what kind of
See how Govardhana Hill is.
Accessibility shortcuts, 18 items, voice guide, off.
Indradumna Swami right into Krishna's life.
You can hear it okay, right?
It's compelling, right? It's not just about rocks and dirt, it's about faith and devotion and seem to define in unexpected places. Let's start at the beginning, shall we? Govardhana?
Yes, this is where things get interesting. See, traditionally, the people of Vrindavan, Krishna's village, worship Indra, the king of the gods. You know, for rain and prosperity, the usual.
Makes sense. But then Krishna comes along and suggests they shift their focus.
To Govardhana Hill itself? Can you imagine?
I mean, it seems like a pretty radical idea. Why would you worship a hill instead of a powerful god?
Well, Krishna's reasoning was actually quite practical. He's like, look around, Govardhana Hill provides everything we need.
The grass for the cows, the water they drink, it's the source of their livelihood.
Exactly. He's pointing to that direct connection between the community and their environment, saying, hey, this hill sustains us, shouldn't we show our gratitude?
So it's a more grounded form of worship, focusing on what's tangible and immediate.
Right. And they just point, Krishna orchestrates this massive Govardhana Puja.
Oh yeah, the descriptions are incredible. Right? Food offerings everywhere, laid out on silver, like a giant feast.
A feast for the senses.
Yeah.
And get this, they even make a miniature hill out of a replica of Govardhana itself.
Wow. It's like they're saying, we see you, Govardhana Hill. We appreciate you.
And it's a bold statement too. Like they're saying, maybe Indra brings the rain, but it's Govardhana that feeds us every day.
It's really putting things into perspective.
And the scale of this puja, Indra Swami says, was unlike anything anyone had seen before. Kings and demigods hadn't witnessed such a grand display.
So we're talking major devotional energy here. But then the story takes this really fascinating turn.
Right. Govardhana Hill doesn't just sit there passively receiving these offerings.
No, it doesn't. It responds in a way that blows everyone's mind.
It manifests as a deity, this majestic figure appearing on top of the hill. Indra Swami describes it as breathtaking, eyes rolling in bliss, arms swaying, radiating this incredible presence. It's like the whole hill came alive.
So even those who were used to Krishna's divine nature, they were stunned.
Totally. And then Krishna does this really clever thing. He pretends he doesn't know who this deity is.
Is that?
Yeah. Like, hey everyone, who's this guy? It just adds to the solidifies this idea that it's a separate entity, not just Krishna in disguise.
But it's the deity's proclamation that really hits the heart of it.
Oh, absolutely. He says, ask me anything according to your heart's desire. And that reveals so much about the nature of true devotion.
Because for a Vaishnava, or a devotee of Vishnu like Krishna, their deepest desire is to please Krishna. It's about that selfless love and service.
Right. It's not about what they can get from the deity. It's about how they can serve. And we see this reflected in how the deity interacts with the food offerings.
Consumes it all, like every last bit. Grows bigger and more blissful with each bite.
And even motions for more. There's insatiable appetite. It's actually how a nearby village got its name, Aniwa, which means bring me more.
It's amazing how even these small details, like a village name, are woven into the story, as this whole other layer of richness.
Definitely. I don't think there's this one small detail there. Balarama, Krishna's brother, offers the deity a single tulsi leaf.
It seems so simple,
But it's incredibly significant because even today, the tulsi leaf holds this special place in devotional practices. It symbolizes purity and devotion. Like even the smallest offering, when given with love, is meaningful.
it's all about the intention behind it, right?
Exactly.
So we've got this grand celebration, this manifestation of Govardhana Hill as a deity, and this underlying message about the true nature of devotion. It's already so much more than just a story about a hill, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and this is just the beginning. Because of course, Indra doesn't take this challenge to his authority lying down. He's not too happy about being overlooked.
And that's where things get really dramatic. We've got this clash of egos, this divine showdown brewing. Definitely stay tuned for that.
So Indra, he's not exactly pleased about being replaced by a hill.
Right. That's putting it mildly. You guys got the ego, right?
A bit. He's the king of the gods. So feeling pretty slighted, and decides to unleash his fury.
And not just any fury. We're talking about the Samvartaka clouds. Like the ultimate weapons of mass destruction.
Oh yeah, Indra Swami doesn't hold back in describing these things. Torrential rain, winds that just tear through everything. Indra is basically able to wipe Vrindavan off the map.
It's not just about punishing the people either. It's about destroying their livelihood, their animals, everything they hold dear.
Even targets the cows, which for a community like Vrindavan, that's like going for the jugular.
Where it shows how deep Indra's anger runs. Then you have Krishna, Faced with this apocalyptic storm, he remains completely calm.
Such a contrast. The villagers are terrified. Krishna's like, don't worry, everything's going to be fine.
He actually tells them, such adversity becomes insignificant for one who has surrendered to me.
Wow, talk about faith. But Krishna doesn't just offer words of comfort, he takes action. And I don't think anyone could have predicted what he does next.
I mean, who would think to lift an entire mountain?
It's mind-boggling. Krishna literally picks up Govardhana Hill and holds it like a giant umbrella.
Shielding the entire community, the animals, everything.
The descriptions in the lectures are amazing. They talk about it as a subterranean heavenly kingdom, this safe haven under the hill, while the storm rages above.
It's like this complete reversal. What was a symbol of fear, the storm, becomes almost irrelevant.
And it gets even weirder. The villagers are so focused on Krishna, so captivated by his presence, that they don't even realize when the storm stops.
They're just completely absorbed in this moment of divine protection.
It speaks volumes about their devotion. And that connection is mirrored in how the cows react after 7 days under the hill.
They don't want to leave Krishna's side.
Like they form this deep bond, this sense of trust that goes beyond just being physically protected.
It's about feeling safe and loved and cared for. And this sense of connection is really the heart of devotion, isn't it? It's not just about outward rituals.
It's about that inner relationship. And this brings us to the first Govardhana Parikrama.
The circumambulation of the hill, which, by the way, is still practiced by devotees today.
It all started right there, with Krishna leading the way. And he's very specific about how to do it.
Oh yeah, it's not just a random walk around the hill. There's a whole order to it.
First come the cows, then the cowherd boys, followed by the Raj basis, the residents of the area, all led by Nanda Maharaja, Krishna's father.
And Krishna and Balarama are right there in the front, guiding everyone along.
It's this beautiful procession, there's music, singing, dancing, it's a celebration of their survival, their gratitude for Krishna's protection.
It's like this collective exhale after holding their breath for 7 days.
And there are these little details that I just love. Nanda Maharaja, so overwhelmed with gratitude, he starts offering charity to the Brahmanas along the way.
An act of generosity amidst this already joyous occasion.
And it catches Krishna's eye, they share this loving glance, and you can just feel the depth of their connection.
The father's pride and the son's love, all woven into this moment. And even Radharani, Krishna's beloved, she's there too.
Veiled by her elders. But the lectures say she keeps track of Krishna by following the arc of his twirling stick.
It's such a sweet detail, with this subtle reminder that even amidst these epic events, love finds a way.
It's beautiful. But, it's important to remember that Govardhana Hill itself is seen through many different glasses in these lectures.
Right, it's not just one thing to everyone.
For Krishna, Govardhana Hill is his best servant.
A symbol of unwavering dedication and selfless service.
For the gopis, the cowherd girls, it represents Krishna's love and protection.
It's like this embodiment of his care for them.
And the sages and devotees, they offer all sorts of interpretations. Vishwanath Tagore, for instance, he sees Govardhana Hill in the shape of a resting peacock.
With different features corresponding to sacred places. It's like this whole spiritual landscape mapped onto the hill.
It's amazing how this one geographical feature takes on so many layers of meaning, depending on who's looking at it, what their connection to Krishna is.
It's like it reflects back your own understanding of the divine. And then there are these really intriguing details about Govardhana Hill, which feels like the charges of spiritual nature,
Oh, yeah. They talk about how the boulders are actually made of soft jewels.
providing comfortable seating for Krishna and his companions.
And the stones soften wherever they walk. Imagine that, a mountain that molds itself to your footsteps.
Like a divine playground. And then there are the forests that cover the hill.
Each one with its own presiding deity and unique offerings for Krishna. It's like this whole ecosystem of devotion has sprung up around this hill.
I would love the description of the sandalwood forest. Apparently it's even more fragrant than the famous sandalwood from Himalayan hills.
You could bet that's it. And then there are the caves, hidden within the hill, filled with amenities that are invisible to the uninitiated.
Like secret chambers of wonder.
And they say these caves can expand to accommodate everyone during rainstorms, offering shelter and comfort.
It's like this endless source of mystery and magic. And don't forget about the belief that even stones from Govardhana Hill hold power.
Oh, right. The story of the Brahmana Vijay, who used a Govardhana Shila, a stone from the hill, to defeat a demon.
It's a powerful reminder that even a fragment of this sacred place can carry divine energy.
So we've gone from this joyous celebration to a near-death experience to this incredible act of protection. We've seen Govardhana as a symbol of sustenance, a deity, a source of wonder, but we haven't yet addressed the elephant.
We gotta try to destroy it all. What happens to him after this whole ordeal? Does he just slink away and defeat?
Well, that's the thing. This is where we see a real shift in the story. Indra, despite his anger, starts to understand the magnitude of his mistake.
And it leads to a really powerful moment of transformation.
It's not like a sudden epiphany for Indra, it's more like this gradual dawning.
He sees the villagers' faith, their unwavering devotion to Krishna.
And then there's Krishna himself, calmly holding up a mountain like it's no big deal. Indra starts to realize, maybe I messed up here.
The lectures describe his remorse as this palpable thing. He's really hit with the weight of what he's done.
And when he prays to Krishna, you can feel the sincerity in his words. He even calls himself a proud fool, bewildered by your illusory potency.
It's a pretty stark admission to the king of the gods, right?
It is. He's basically saying, my ego blinded me. I got caught up in this whole power trip and lost sight of what really matters.
And that's something we can all relate to, right? I mean, who hasn't let their ego get the best of them at some point?
Exactly. It's a universal experience. We make mistakes, we act impulsively, sometimes we just flat out miss the mark.
But what's beautiful is that Krishna, being the embodiment of compassion, forgives him.
It's a powerful reminder that no matter how big the mistake, sincere repentance can pave the way for redemption.
It's like this whole story, this epic journey with Govardhana Hill. It culminates in this moment of forgiveness and grace.
And it leaves us with so much to ponder, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's about so much more than just a mountain or a god coming to your deity.
It's about recognizing the true sources of sustenance in our lives. It's about the power of devotion and surrender. And it's about the potential for transformation, even for those who seem most lost.
Think about those different perspectives we've explored today. The villagers' unwavering faith, Krishna's cleverness and compassion, Indra's journey from pride to humility.
How do those resonate with you? What does Govardhana Hill represent?
Is it a symbol of strength, of shelter, of the divine potential that resides within us?
Remember, even a stone from Govardhana Hill is losing its full power.
So imagine what we can achieve when we align ourselves with something greater than ourselves. When our hearts are open to that divine possibility.
Keep exploring these stories, these teachings. Let them spark your curiosity and inspire you to be
It's ending now.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, keep conversation going.
쭉